us. This is TNT, Co-Region Football's Thursday Night Tailgate, where we're covering all the action in the Schuylkill League, the inaugural league of the Schuylkill League, I should say. If you're just joining us and you haven't seen our show before, I'm Patrick Cramsey. With me is John Cooper and Brad Hurley, and every week what we like to do is take a look at all the Schuylkill League action. So this week, opening week of the Schuylkill League football, and Hurls, it was an exciting week for the Schuylkill League. You know, the inaugural week of Schuylkill League football.
Yeah, we had 10 out of, I believe, our 12 teams got a win. And a lot of our big school teams that went out and played some tougher competition got some wins too. And also, I think our two losses were with teams that are in the leagues, just split up in the division. So, exciting week. Went as well as it possibly could have, I think.
Yes, it did.
And, you know, great first week. And I'm excited to see what our teams can do moving forward, especially those big dog teams like Possum and Blue Mountain that came out and showed, hey, you know, we can go out and challenge ourselves and still come away with a win, even against teams that might even be a little bigger than us in size.
Big picture takeaway for week one.
Well, first of all, a lot of success for the Schuylkill League, which is nice. It was nice to see some, I should say old guys, but some old guys in new positions. We got to see, you know, we're curious to see how they're going to work out and fared well. We'll get to that. And it was also nice to see guys playing positions we didn't know they were going to play. So, like, that first week, you know, is really neat to see who's going to be going where and what teams are going to be doing and their styles of play. We learned that there's some really good defenses out there. We learned there's some tough running backs and some quarterbacks that can put up numbers. So it was exciting. You know, look at the scores and the stats. There was a lot of action this week in week one.
So, as we mentioned, new format, Schuylkill League football. You have Division I 6 teams, Division II 6 teams, based on size. For those of you that weren't with us week one. So this week we had 8 teams playing out of league. We had 4 teams matching up against each other, even though they were non-league games. But the best we could have possibly did this week was 10-2, which is what happened for the Schuylkill League teams. The only 2 losses being Shenandoah to another Schuylkill League team in North Schuylkill, and Jim Thorpe to Schuylkill Haven, which we'll talk about as we go through our recap right now. So first game we're going to talk about in Lansford, the Panther Valley Panthers. Coops, one of your teams to watch. You talked about them last week.
Dark horse, yeah.
One of Coops' dark horses, and the Panthers, they got some playmakers, and those playmakers made plays opening night. And Hurls, the Panthers come on top 40-18 over Columbia Montour Votech.
Yeah, Hunter Kennedy showed that he's going to be a tough matchup for some teams. Can run it a little bit, threw the ball really well, 200 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Rini Figueroa had a breakout season last year. He had 92 yards on 13.1 yards per carry. And a guy that we might not have known about until this week, Josh Rodriguez, 3 catches, 85 yards and a touchdown. PV comes out screaming out of the gates. That's what they wanted. This is why they scheduled CNVT. They wanted that confidence game. Now they're going into Hamburg next week. Let's see what they can do. But great start for the Panthers.
Quick note, in the trenches for the Panthers, some guys really stepping up. They lost a lot of linemen. This is an area where we talked about them possibly being thin. You had Brendan Morgans in his first game as an offensive lineman that we thought did a very good job. Also, some of their other linemen like Noah Burke, Chris Santor, Justin Rodriguez really did a good job for the Panthers. So, nice opening week for the Panthers. They're going to be looking to go 2-0. We'll get to that in segment 2. So, the Panthers open up with a win 40-18 over Columbia Montour Votech. Next, we're heading over to Lehighton with the dedication of the new stadium. Also, defending league champs. So, you know, we talked about Lehighton a lot the last couple of years. The job Coach McCarroll has done, some of the players that they have come through there. We were very excited to see how some of this year's individual players were going to be stepping into their new roles. They have some guys who have some experience, but were maybe role players in the past and were now going to be their go-to guys. And boy, they answered the call this week. Who?
Yeah, absolutely. Cody Scherer making his first start as the Indian quarterback, and all he did was break a record. You know, threw for 300 yards.
Yeah, not a bad debut.
3 touchdowns. I think he ran for 2 more. Some guys with 100-yard receiving games. We knew about Mike Marinick as a runner. Mike Marinick also proves he could catch the ball, come out of the backfield, going over 100 yards receiving. And Cody Scherer in his first start leads his team from 10 points down in the fourth quarter to start the year 1-0. The defense gets some tremendous stops when they needed to, and you know, just a great way for Lehighton to start the season against a big school. And you can't say enough about Cody Scherer. When they asked him to step up last year as a receiver after Crum graduated, he did so. Now they ask him to step up as a quarterback after Tyler Can graduates, and he proves that he can do that. So hats off to Cody and the rest of the Indians there, and a great opening win.
Yeah, it was a real exciting game. The ending was just fantastic, and also Zaner for Heighton with a huge defensive interception to seal the game for the Indians. So the defending league champs open up at home. Dedication of their new stadium in exciting fashion. Boy, it was a packed house. A lot of excitement in Lehighton right now, and they beat Fleetwood 34-30. Next, we're going to go to hometown, and the Marion Colts, one of the preseason favorites. Just behind Haven in Division II, taking on Penns Valley, a team we didn't know a whole lot about. Marion graduated some playmakers, have a lot of guys back, but we were curious to see if they were going to have some guys step up in that playmaker position. And, when the chips were down, they had some guys make plays. And the Colts come out with a huge Week 1 win, 27-24 in overtime against Penns Valley.
Yeah, Ethan Kozinski, 4-year starting quarterback. 130 yards passing, a touchdown, and 65 yards rushing and a touchdown. So he came through for the team. He threw that overtime pass to Herb, I believe it is, for the win. It's funny how that actually went down. He was actually going to Anthony Calavecchio. He saw him, and he kind of put some loft on it, and Herb just went up and made a play. Got jacked up, made the catch to win the game. So it's funny how those things work out, especially in overtime throw for the win. Also, Seth Pollock kind of emerging as looked like the Colts' best runner, a young sophomore, tough kid, and looks like might be their go-to runner. But as I expressed, Colts need to find some playmakers on the outside. They need to replace Snur and D'Angelo. I think as the season goes on, they'll find them, and before they get into Division II, they'll need to find those playmakers. But Andrew DeBias, 6'4" quarterback, coach's kid from Penns Valley, gave him some problems, threw for 255 yards. But like you said, when the chips were down, Colts went all in, and they came away with a win. So congratulations to Marion. Tough, hard-fought win Week 1.
A few quick notes about that game. Going to be curious to see how some of the other teams that the Colts play now, how they're able to toss the ball, how they're able to throw the ball against the Colts. That's number one. Number two, playmakers to emerge. Anthony Calavecchio, a guy to keep an eye on moving forward as someone who could emerge as a playmaker for the Colts. And also the third thing, you mentioned Seth Pollock having a nice new game for the Colts. Best wishes go out to his brother Jake, who we've been informed that unfortunately suffered another ACL tear. He's had a few injuries in his career, and you hate to see someone end the season that way and a career that way. So our best wishes go out to him for a healthy recovery. It's just part of the game, but boy, it just stinks when that happens.
Yeah, he works. I was talking to his dad throughout the summer because he's from Jim Thorpe as well as I am, and he worked his butt off to get back. So you never want to see that, but that kid will be fine. He's so resilient. He's a really smart kid, and he'll have other things down the road besides football. But like you said, never want to see that happen to a kid the caliber of Jake Paul.
Yeah, it's a bummer. So best wishes go to him from us here. Moving on, Pottsville Y missing. We started keeping track of our picks.
Yeah.
And boy, we missed this one. All of us.
Yeah,
we missed this one.
Yeah.
So why missing? The last couple of years, they have been one of the premier programs in the Berks League. Pottsville has struggled, and Pottsville struggled. This is their first year in the Schuylkill League, but they struggled against these Berks League teams. So I don't think it was an outrageous pick at the
sixth in the state.
start.
You're sixth in the state. Why missing?
And Pottsville, what an opening weekend for Pottsville. It's their Schuylkill League debut, but it's a non-league game Week 1, and Pottsville just goes out and makes a statement, takes care of business, 32-7 over Wyomissing.
Yeah, we said last week, this was we gave them credit for scheduling this game, a tough game to start their season. Thought it might be a stepping stone to see where they're going to be at. And instead, they just showed us that they're a very good football team. We talked about the 1-2 punch of Lipinski and Jacoby. They were as good as advertised. Lipinski getting the end zone twice. Jacoby going over 100 yards. But defensively, holding Wyomissing team to only 139 yards of total offense. Great opening game for the Tide. And like I said, they send notice right away to the rest of the Schuylkill League Division 1 that we're here, and we're going to try to dominate this like we've dominated other sports in the Schuylkill League. So they're here, and they're here to stay.
So speaking of us messing up, am I the only one who picked Muhlenberg?
Yes.
Wow.
There was no hesitation in us picking Blue Mountain last week either. I hope you know that.
Yeah, that was the worst pick ever in the history of me and this show. So, hey, congrats to Blue Mountain. Blue Mountain Muhlenberg. Blue Mountain opening the 2016 season against one of the old Berkeley's foes in Muhlenberg, and Blue Mountain comes out and takes care of business 40-14. Just to kind of give you some thought of my thought process, I kind of thought, heading back into the Berks League, playing some of the opponents there, they kind of struggled with them a bit in the past. And, maybe, Muhlenberg has a chance to catch them off guard. So that was the pick I went a bit out on the limb on, and obviously got burned big time. But obviously I'm thrilled that I got burned because, we're pulling for all these Schuylkill League teams right now. And Blue Mountain just sends a message to the league, as did Pottsville, that they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. And some of the familiar names that we've heard in the past continue to make plays for the Blue Eagles.
Yeah, Mason Freed, 140 yards passing and a touchdown. I think that's where you'll see him at all year, that 140 to 160 range, making plays, being smart, not turning the ball over, running that offense. And Connor Kerstetter, 2 rushing touchdowns. He had, I think, 10, 11 carries. So that's something interesting to see. He was a tight end before. Now they went to the big guy in the backfield with the loss of the Callion brothers. So that's something to watch develop as the season goes on, just for him to maybe get better there. And they shut Muhlenberg out for 3 straight quarters. So you could see when that defense wants to really hanker down on you, it's not going to be an easy Friday night for you. So Blue Mountain came out. Eagles Nest, a tough place to play. They proved that again, and they look all the bit the favorite to win Division One.
Okay, now going to the opposite end of the spectrum. Blue Mountain, you have a team in Division One. The pick to win the league. A lot of experience returning for the Blue Eagles. A bigger school. Now we're going to go to Division Two. Monty area had a very nice year last year. Hit very, very hard by graduation. So they're opening up the season as a small school with a ton of new faces. We talked about in week 1, the kid getting under center for Monty area. Lewandowski was really going to have a big year for them to be competitive, and he did in week 1. He had 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and Monty area starts out the season 1-0, beating Towanda 31-14.
Yeah, another quarterback making his debut, making his first start, and doing another outstanding job. And not only that, but Monterey just dominated this game in the trenches. 277 rushing yards for the Bears, holding their opponents to only 130 total yards. So you dominate the trenches like that, you're going to do things well. You're going to put points on the board and come away with the win. Kluel with 81 rushing yards also, and Terry with 70 rushing yards. So we said, we're waiting to see what names step up for the Monterey Golden Bears. Well, there's 2 of them right away. Obviously, they're going to pound the football this year. They're going to try to beat in the trenches, and they did that in week 1.
All right, well, going back to some familiar names, North Schuylkill Shenandoah, North Schuylkill, Major Jordan, the Zahodnik, Wagner. We've been hearing those names for a while for North Schuylkill, and North Schuylkill comes out with a bang opening night. North Schuylkill getting a tad overlooked in Division One. A lot of the hype's around Blue Mountain and deservedly so, and you have Lehighton as the defending league champs, and we kind of think North Schuylkill might be getting a little bit lost in that mix. Well, they show that people might need to pay attention to them, and they take care of business against Shenandoah, 61-0 opening night. They don't attempt to pass opening night. They didn't need to.
No, the Wagners, Bobby Wagner, Mitchell Wagner, 2 touchdowns apiece. Bobby Wagner with a kickoff return, and Mitchell Wagner with 2 punt return TDs. So they're adding that element, that special teams element to the table. I think that they had 2-3 seasons ago when they could score anytime and anywhere they wanted, and they're doing that again. Once again, proving that they're in the mix. Last 2 years got kind of bit by the injury bug, underperformed a little bit in big time games. This year, I think, with the leadership of Major Jordan, and I think those guys that were behind Grigas and Murray last year maybe stepping up to the table a little bit, they can make a serious run at this. And I think them and Lehighton right now are the 2 teams on the outside looking in, kind of chopping their bits, saying, hey, nobody thought we were going to be challenging you guys for this Division One crown, but they let Blue Mountain and Pottsville know, hey, we're here too, and we're coming for you for that crown. And it's going to be really interesting to see. Division One's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Which brings me to, we talked about some of the things that we got wrong, and then I talked about some of my horrible picks. But the Blue Raiders, they're my dark horse. Consensus, pick last in Division One. Coaches, media. Blue Raiders pick last. They're not going to finish last. They're too tough. They're too well coached. And you look at some of these top teams in Division One, and I'm telling you that the Blue Raiders are going to pull off some upsets this year. I don't know where they're going to finish, but they're going to be a team to reckon with a lot more than the media or the coaches anticipated. Nick Briner, sophomore running back, have a huge game for Tamaqua opening night, and as usual, they're strong, they're tough, they have a solid defense, and Coach Bonner's crew was focused and ready to go opening night, and Tamaqua takes care of business against Minersville, 49-13. Both of you guys were there. Give me the rundown, Coop.
Yeah, that was the game I was able to do for the radio for WMGH, and it didn't take long for Tamaqua to get on the board. Nick Briner returning the opening kickoff 80 yards, set the tone. Tamaqua scored on every possession they had in the first half and even in the second half before Minersville was able to finally get a stop. And we know Coach Bonner in the past liked to pound the football, but this year with an experienced quarterback, they're going to throw it a little bit. They have a playmaking tight end in Eddie Titus who went over 100 yards receiving. It looked like it was going to be a 5-yard screen pass, turned into a big 58-yard gain. They showed flashes on the outside with Zeke Wassel making some plays down the field. And defensively, they just stifled the Miners all night long. They were in the backfield. And I really liked what I saw from them. We're going to take into consideration they played a Division II opponent, a Minersville team that's trying to figure some things out. But penalized, I think, one time, Brad, the entire game. That's
no turnovers
to me. Yeah, no turnovers. Penalized only once. Just a real clean game for the Raiders to open the season.
Balance. Balance was the key for me in this one. 28 rushes, 15 passes. Pretty balanced for Tamaqua. If they can continue to have the run and the pass that they had against Minersville, they're going to be really tough to beat. And all those passes to Ed Titus were play action, and he was just out running those linebackers in the middle. Real big matchup problem for some teams. So Raiders get off to a good start. Big confidence boost for them, and great to see Thad Zuber get off to a good start. Got hurt his freshman year, got beat up a little bit last year. We knew the kid is talented, and another kid in Braden Knobloch behind him that can throw the ball a little bit as well. Had a nice 40-yard strike. So they got some talent in Tamaqua right now.
The first snap that Knobloch took as a quarterback, he threw a bomb for a touchdown.
Yeah.
The very first snap that he took, it went for a touchdown.
Yeah,
so
that's not a bad debut.
Yeah.
Not a bad
He was
debut.
1 for 1 with, I think, a 50-something yard touchdown pass
And
to start.
freshman Nate Boyle, another nice night, 59 yards in a big touchdown run. So they got some players.
A lot of freshmen on the defensive side of the ball. I like them. I like what I saw.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good dark horse. Good dark horse pack.
They got a nice mix of a couple guys that have some experience and then some younger guys that are talented and they're used to winning. So if they won their whole life, why is that going to be so different right now?
Yeah.
It may take them a little time to get their feet wet, but I agree about Knobloch and Titus. He's a fun guy to watch. He's like mini Gronk out there.
Yeah.
He moves good for how big he is.
He certainly does.
I don't know if he can jump high as his dad, but I don't know not many people ever could.
You're right. But hey, congrats to Coach Bonner and Tamaqua. Next, our game of the week at Rotary Field. Schuylkill Haven taking on the Red Swarm of Jim Thorpe. Huge game for both teams. Very exciting that they scheduled this game opening week, being that Jim Thorpe's now in Division 1. Haven is in Division 2. But both of these teams are two quality opponents that we were very excited to see how they would match up in Week 1. And boy, it was a very impressive performance by the Hurricanes, specifically Preston Gehring and their defense. Schuylkill Haven comes out opening out with a huge win, 31-14 over Jim Thorpe.
Yeah, I mean, Haven was projected to have a really tough defense. They showed it. Held a pretty well run scheme offense in Jim Thorpe to -7 yards. Pretty good running back in Deontay St. Hill, I believe it is. So they're gonna be a tough team to beat, and it's Justin St. Hill. Sorry,
Yeah, Justin. Yeah.
Deontay was his older brother. There's so many of them over the years. But Justin St. Hill, couldn't get going. He's a speed guy. Madera couldn't get going. So it just shows the toughness Schuylkill Haven has. Preston Gehring, 150 yards rushing on the night. That's Schuylkill Haven football all the way. Stop the run the football, and they're going to be tough to beat.
All right, here we go. Hard coal performers. Week 1. First week of the Schuylkill League. For football, our hard coal performers. Coop, who you got?
I'm going to go with the aforementioned Preston Garrett from Schuylkill Haven. 150 rushing yards, controlled the tempo that whole game. We weren't sure if he was going to be the lead back or if it was going to be Mike Callion, but as of Friday, they both got the ball, which we expected. But Preston had a great game. He's good threat, good speed. So Preston Garrett.
Cool. I'm sorry, Hurls.
I got Cody's share. School record 315 passing yards in his debut. Congrats, Cody. Looks like the Titans got another solid signal caller for the next 2 seasons.
Awesome. I got hardcore performers of the week. I got the Schuylkill Haven defense holding Jim Thorpe to -7 yards rushing. Don't know when the last time that has happened. So that is a very impressive opening performance for Schuylkill Haven. So you know, one thing that I've noticed, some of the guys that we've talked about, you know, and we're all here because we love Coal Region football. We love football. You know, we're a big fan of these high school football teams. And we talked about Rojak. Nick, correct?
Yes.
Nick Rojak from Jim Thorpe. We talked about Preston Gehring. We talked about the Pollock boys. You know, and we're here because we've kind of grown up with this and we loved it. And all of their dads, I remember being a little kid in Lansford at Panther Valley Stadium, holding on to that rope, watching their dads.
Yeah.
All of them. You know, the
They were all
Pollocks,
good.
They were all fantastic.
Yeah.
They're all so fun to watch. So
It's funny that they're all spread out too now.
Yeah, and they're all spread out. They're all making plays all around the school.
Yeah,
league.
exactly.
But I remember the old men being you know, Panthers and making plays down in Lansford. So you know, just kind of brought back some memories there. So okay, our records. We've been keeping track of our picks. Hurls, why don't you run them down?
All right, we got Coop at 8-1. You at 7-2 after your horrible pick of Mueller River
terrible.
Mountain.
Terrible.
And then Lee Heighton taking me to the woodshed got me 7-2, and I texted Coach McCarroll after the win because we've known each other for years. Said, "Hey, great win," and he goes, "Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I also enjoyed proving you wrong too." So anytime that we see a pick against one of our local teams we're wrong, it's not that big of a deal. So huge week for our area teams, and right now Coop's got a slim game lead on both of us going into week 2.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed. I'm in last, even though we're tied. I'm going to put myself in last.
You're gonna put yourself
You're not first, you're last. All right?
Because of that Blue
It's a
Mountain
Ricky
pick.
Bobby.
It's pathetic. I got to make up for it this week.
Gotcha.
So, all right, we'll be right back with segment 2, and we're going to take a look at all the week 2 action. Once again, thanks for joining us. This is TNT Coal Region Football's Thursday Night Tailgate.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man.
Welcome back. Thanks for
Not
joining
again.
us. This is TNT Coal Region Football's Thursday Night Tailgate, where we're covering all the action in the Schuylkill League, the newly formed Schuylkill League for football, with 2016 being the inaugural season. I'm Patrick Cramsey. With me is John Cooper and Brad Hurley. This is segment 2 of our Week 2 show. We're going to take a look at the Week 2 games. If you know, you're just joining us, what we try to do every week is cover all the action as best we can. We got 12 teams this year in the Schuylkill League, and we got a lot of non-league games the first few weeks of the season. We're going to have our league games as the year progresses, and that'll kind of shape things as we go with Division 1 and Division 2. So, non-league games this week. First, the Panthers of Panther Valley, 1-0, traveling to Hamburg. Been a while since the Panthers are 2-0. They got a good chance to get there this week. What do you think, girls?
Yeah, I mean, we'll both be there. We'll be on WLSH. That's 1410 a.m. For all of you listening in Carbon County, we'll be on the radio together, Pat and I. So we're excited about that. Hamburg defeated Nativity 35-0 last week. It was a 0-0 ball game after once, and Nativity hung in there for a little bit. And Hamburg did give up 137 yards passing. So look for Hunter Kennedy and that big tight end Tristan Blasco, Rodriguez, Gilberry, maybe take advantage of that a little bit. I like the Panthers this week. I like their speed. I think they'll take care of business and be 2-0, which I think I remember Coach Matt Davis, who made a little guest appearance here before our show, says it's 2007. That's the last time they were 2-0.
Yeah, that good crew that they had coming through, Casey Lawrence, Jake Dunn, Ryan Richards, Greg Peck, that whole crew, their junior year they started 2-0, so yeah.
So 2008, that would be, I think. 2008.
Maybe.
Is that right? Anyway,
sounds about right.
7 or 8
Yeah.
years.
Sounds about right.
It's been a bit.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so Hurl's got the Panthers. Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Brad here. I really like Panther Valley. I mean, it's you know a tough road trip. You know, you got a little bit of traveling to do, but I think the kids are excited now. You know, they got that first victory under their belt, and we saw that they do some playmakers. And I also like Panther Valley to get a W here.
Okay, next we got North Schuylkill.
You didn't pick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got the Panthers.
Okay, we
Okay.
thought you did, but
Yeah, sorry.
just had to make it official.
Yeah, I got the Panthers. I thought I mentioned that before.
Oh, sorry, maybe you
Yes, I got the Panthers. So we all got the Panthers.
Yeah.
We got them going 2-0, which will be a huge step for the program and for Coach Davis in his third year coaching the Panthers. So good luck to them traveling to Hamburg. Obviously for all our Schuylkill League teams. Next, we got North Schuylkill at Steel High. this is interesting, girls.
Yeah, Steel High defeated Morrisville 55-6 last week. Javion Grant 5 touchdowns, including 1 on special teams, a defensive touchdown, as well as 2 receiving and 1 rushing. So Grant had a big game. He's going to be a guy to watch from North Schuylkill. However, I do like the Spartans this week. You know, it's going to be a tough win for them, but I think they're rolling. I think they have the athletes. And I picked against Lehighton last week going out of league, so I'm going to stick with a SFL team this week, and I'm going to go with North Schuylkill.
Coop, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree again. I think, you know, until somebody proves they're a little bit tougher in the Schuylkill League, I like our Schuylkill League teams. North Schuylkill obviously shows that they still have playmakers there, and I also like the Spartans in this one.
Yeah, lesson learned for me. I'm sticking with the Spartans as well. So we're on the same page for the first 2 games. Moving on, we got Muhlenberg, who was defeated by Blue Mountain in week 1. They're traveling to Pottsville. Pottsville 1-0, and a lot of excitement in Pottsville right now after their huge win in week 1 against Wyomissing. So what do you think of this game, Brad?
What do you think about this game, Pat? Are you going to go with Muhlenberg again?
No, I'm all over the tide. I'm all over the tide.
I think Pottsville's going to win. Big win last week was Wyomissing 32-7. But I do like this one to be a close one. I think Muhlenberg is going to bounce back. They're, a lot of people down in the Berks County League, a lot of the writers thought that Muhlenberg was going to have a pretty decent year. So I think they're going to come in. I think they're going to be ready to play, and it's going to be a closer game. But I do like the tie.
It was surprising. Week 1 was surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much Blue Mountain winning,
But by the margin.
But the margin was surprising.
Yeah, I also like Pottsville, but I like this game to give us an idea of maybe where Pottsville's at in comparison with Blue Mountain, since they're going to get a similar opponent right off the bat. So, I mean, Blue Mountain was able to handle them pretty easily, so Pottsville's going to go for that challenge too. I like Pottsville to win this one. Just want to see if they do it as easily as Blue Mountain did.
All right. Well, speaking of Blue Mountain, they're traveling to Hanover. This was a little interesting. Blue Mountain. This is one of the things with the newly formed Schuylkill League. You have Division 1, you have Division 2. Blue Mountain, I know for a fact, they were very disappointed they did not get any crossover games. Mm-hmm. And if you're a small school, why would you want to play them?
Yeah, the only one you're getting is your rival in Haven.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
what would PV get out of playing Blue Mountain?
Nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Except injuries, possibly.
It'd be a stupid
and
pickup.
Getting crushed.
It'd be a stupid pickup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's nothing there. So, Blue Mountain had to go look around, and they end up traveling to Hanover. Which, this is shaping up to be a very, very interesting game. You're looking at a tough Hanover team.
Yeah, and is this the same Hanover team that PV played last year, or is that a different Hanover team?
No, this is the same.
Same team? I mean, talk about a bounce back year. I mean, last year didn't have a really good year, and this year, all they do is upset the PIAA Single A Semi team and go Old Forge, which nobody up there expected, nobody down here expected.
No.
And that defense, only 152 yards they led up to Old Forge, which is a tough running football team usually.
Yes.
I mean, this is shaping up to be a little bit of a test for Blue Mountain, which I don't think they expected. But
and I don't think we expected.
The Hawkeyes and the Eagles, 2 birds of prey going at it this week.
So what do you think?
Blue Mountain. Like I said, I'm sticking with the Schuylkill League teams right now.
Yeah, I agree again. We thought that Muhlenberg would be a good game last week too, and Blue Mountain took care of business, so I like Blue Mountain.
I do too. It's like, seriously, how could I possibly?
Chafin had a good year last year, right? He was a tough, Brandon Chafin. He was a tough runner last year, I believe. That name just is in my head for some reason. I feel like he was a tough kid.
I just think the size. You're talking single A schools and double A schools and the bigger Blue Mountain schools. So I just like their depth. I like their size.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at their roster, and they're putting out kids 10 through 12.
Yeah.
That they outnumber by 20
That's
teams
what
that
you
are
want
putting
to
out 9 through 12.
Yeah, and I don't think the Eagles will have to sweat the fourth quarter. I mean, it might be close for a little while, but eventually I think Blue Mountain does it.
The Hawkeyes are listening to you right now.
That's okay.
All our Hawkeye watchers up there in Hanover.
I wonder how many we have. I wonder how many fans we have in Hanover.
Not many.
They could blast us if I'm wrong.
All right, next we got Minersville at Shenandoah. Here's an interesting twist this year. Minersville and Shenandoah are playing twice.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can't say I blame them. The last 5 weeks are going to be league games, and so the first 5 weeks, all the Schuylkill League teams, they're finding non-league games. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming, and from what I've gathered by talking to people, Minersville and Shenandoah were kind of looking at their options, and they decided that playing each other non-league was better than some of the options they had, and who could blame them?
Yeah.
It's a pretty darn even matchup right now. So both of these teams are scheduling this game thinking, all right, this is a non-league game that we have a chance to win, which might not be the case if they had to schedule a crossover game against a bigger Division I school in the school league. So I can't say I blame them. Makes it a little different, but it is what it is. Very interesting, however. So Shenandoah coming off their loss to North Schuylkill, Minersville coming off the loss to Tamaqua. Both of you guys saw the Miners last week. What do you think?
I like the Miners. I think that the Miners showed some glimpses of the team they could be. I just think they're running that new wing tee for them, and their kids are learning it. They're learning a different style of play under Damian Buggy, who we talked to after the game, and he wasn't happy with the way his team performed, but he's like, listen, all the things that happened we can fix. They're all fixable things. It wasn't an effort thing. It was just some missed tackles, penalties. And anytime you start off giving a team a kickoff return, you're putting yourself in a hole. But I like the tough running kids they had. They had Taylor, who ran the ball well when he was given the opportunity, and Beach. Aaron Beach did a great job. So still Fichetti was banged up a little bit. Didn't really play in the second half at all. So that'll be interesting to see. But I like the Miners.
Cool.
I'm going to change up a little bit. I'm going to go with the Shenandoah Blue Devils at home. Like I said, there's only one direction to go after you open this season with North Schuylkill, and that's up. And this to me it's a toss-up. I don't think it's obviously going to be a close game, I believe. But I've watched Shenandoah play some years past. I think they're tough kids. Not saying that Minersville isn't. Minersville obviously tough too, but somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. So I'm going to go with Blue Devils at home. So.
I got Devils as well. I think 4-6-2. I like 4-6-2 this week. I don't know. I do. I think they have some athletes that are
Hold
going
on. Speaking of 4-6-2, did you guys see a thing on that meme online with the swimmer for the Olympics and her name kind of sounded like Shenandoah, and then the person put 4-6-2?
I did.
That was awesome.
I actually did. Yeah, that was good.
That was funny. When they do the shout outs later, that's my shout out. Whoever came out with that.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
pretty good. All right, so we got the Devils. You got the Miners.
Yes.
All right, next Tamaqua at Monte Area. Tamaqua 1-0. Monte Area 1-0. Tamaqua beating Minersville last week. Monte Area over Tamaqua. I got the Blue Raiders.
Same here. Blue Raiders. Balance would be the key in this one. I think Tamaqua showed the ability to have balance where Monterey is kind of, I think, leaning towards the run a little bit. So I expect the Raiders to come out, and once you see them perform like that, I want to see that every week, and I like Tamaqua.
I like Tamaqua too, but I think Monterey's going to give them a much stiffer test than they had last week. Obviously, Monterey area has to have some guys in the trenches that play well to put up the numbers they did last week. No matter who you're playing against, if you dominate, the line of scrimmage that much, you have some guys there. So. I'm interested to see this one. I actually have this on our radio for WMGH, so
great.
I'm excited to go there.
Awesome.
I think Tamaqua wins it, but I think Monterey is going to let them know they're in a game.
Cool. So every week we pick a game of the week, and some weeks it's very close. Some weeks it's evident. Some weeks it's very close. This week it was pretty close. We got an awesome game right here. That's not our game of the week, but we're very, very excited about. Marion Colts traveling to Jim Thorpe, especially with the Red Swarm coming off that loss at Haven. You don't want to say their backs are against the wall, but boy, you don't want to start off 0-2 if you're Jim Thorpe. The last couple of years they're better than that. Mm-hmm. And the Colts coming off a huge win in overtime against Penns Valley. This is a very interesting matchup once again of a Division I team in Jim Thorpe, a Division II team in the Marion Colts. So, Coop, what you got?
I think Jim Thorpe bounces back here, and they almost have to, because if you're going to play in Division I, and in the second half of the season. And if you're comparing, you lose 2 games in Division II, or 2 Division II teams, I should say, in Schuylkill Haven and Marion. It's going to weigh heavy on the kids because they're going to say, "Wow, now we got all these Division I kids Division I teams coming up." So I just think from a psyche standpoint, the Olympians can't afford to lose this game. Record-wise, it's not do or die, but if you start the season 0-2 and you still haven't gone into that tough Division I play yet, that's tough. So I think the Swarm bounces back this week and gets a W.
I like Jim Thorpe as well. They're notoriously known for if they lose a game, they come back really strong the next week and play well. So I think they're going to do that. Their home opener, they play really well at home. That's not an easy place to play down in Jim Thorpe. I like Jim Thorpe. And let me tell you why. I just can't see them not fixing the issues that they had last week. You can say a lot of it was because of the Schuylkill Haven line, but I think that the Jim Thorpe coaching staff will find out what happened, what assignments were missed. They'll bounce back. I can't see a guy like St. Hill being corralled like that again. This kid's just waiting to go off. I think both teams are still trying to find their identity right now on the offensive side, on the outside. So that'll be interesting. But I like Jim Thorpe to win this one, even though it's going to be tough to handle with that big defensive line for Marion.
Homers. We got two chunkers here.
Homers.
Picking Jim Thorpe. I agree that it's going to be a very, very interesting game, and I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to take the Colts. On the road, I...
What?
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
I think that they have a little more experience, and we talked about them needing some playmakers to come through, but they have the most experienced quarterback in the league, and I think he's going to make some plays for them. So look for Ethan Kaczynski to make some big-time plays for the Colts Friday nights against the Olympians, and I think he's the difference. I think he's the difference in the game. I think the Colts come out with a huge win on the road against Jim Thorpe. So I'll go against you chunk homers on that game.
That's fine.
All right, next, our game of the week. I'll be sitting here next week saying, what I do? All right, game of the week. Schuylkill Haven at Lehighton. Preseason favorite in Division II is Schuylkill Haven, and the defending league champ from Division I in Lehighton. This is awesome. This is an awesome Week 2 game. Coop, what do you think?
It is an awesome game. It's a great matchup, and there's going to be playmakers all over the field. Again, though, if we have to pick, I think that new stadium is going to be rocking again in Lehighton, and I'm going to stay with the Indians until they prove me wrong here. I like what Cody Scher did. I'm going to stand behind him and go Lehighton again.
Charles.
Fear the spear. I like the Indians.
Should we get that helmet out?
No, I got to talk to Coach Carroll. I get a bigger size.
Last year, if you don't remember, they gave him a helmet to wear when he picked him, and his large bulbous head didn't quite fit into the helmet. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, hurricane's coming. I think the Indians throw that spear through the hurricane. It gets whipped around a little bit, but it still comes through the other side. They just showed me so much last week. I mean, I don't. For people that didn't watch that game or see that game, if they didn't realize the type of talent that was on that Fleetwood team. They had guys all over the place,
Sure.
and just the size of that line alone. I mean, Lehighton was definitely undersized, and they came out on top. And I like their toughness. I think Schuylkill Haven's going to give them everything that they can handle. I think it's going to be another close game, another game decided in the fourth quarter, on the shoulders of Scher, and he showed me last week that he can handle it. I like the Indians.
Lehighton has more balance. They have more balance. They're going to be able to run and throw the ball. I think Haven, and Lozada's a nice quarterback, but they just haven't consistently shown their ability to throw the football. And I don't think you're going to go to Lehighton and just run it down their throats. I don't think it's going to happen. I like the Indians as well. So, shout-outs. Just some tidbits here. Coop, you got some shout-outs this week.
Yeah, I'm wearing your old Shippensburg
I like it.
T-shirt today. Panther Valley alumni Richard Nace, football player now at Shippensburg University, had a sensational year last year as a defensive end. This year was nominated as a preseason All-American for Division II. So shout out to Richard Nace, the PV grad, doing a great job out there at Shippensburg.
Awesome. I would like to give a huge shout out to one of our biggest fans, Brian Kennedy. Brian Kennedy is Marion class of '94, one of the best quarterbacks ever to play for Marion.
A midshipman too, right?
Midshipman, graduated from Marion, went to play for Navy. In fact, when he was playing for Navy, he was playing against Panther Valley grad Brad Miller. And, and both of them from the small town of Summit Hill. Back then when Brian Kennedy was their quarterback, his next door neighbor was Kazak Schuylkill, who was the quarterback for PV. You literally had two of the best quarterbacks in the state of Pennsylvania living in Summit Hill right next door to each other. When I say right next door, I mean they literally lived in the houses right next door to each other. But anyway, we tweeted it out on the weekend. I don't know how many people saw it or were interested, but he's now coaching at Pine Richland out by Pittsburgh. And they were on ESPN on Saturday in a fantastic game. The Pine Richland team played St. Edwards of Ohio and came out just an extra point short, lost by 1 to St. Edwards. Yeah, it was an awesome game. And Phil Ondrovic, their quarterback, just a junior, Notre Dame commit, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. It was awesome to watch. It was cool to see Brian Kennedy on the sidelines. So hey, Brian, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. And it was cool to see you guys doing your thing this weekend. So that's a wrap. Any closing thoughts for Week 2, Hurls?
Those top two games, like we said, last year we were a little disappointed. Every week we'd have like one game to talk about. This year already we've had a bunch of games. To
Yeah,
talk
I know, it's
about.
pretty exciting.
It's and kudos to Blue Mountain and Pottsville for going out and giving us some games to talk about, playing those bigger schools, and kudos to Schuylkill Haven for going out and challenging Jim Thorpe early, and it's only gonna get better. I can't wait for that Division One season to start. 6th game in. That's every week. We don't know what's gonna happen. So
Gonna be a lot of fun, and myself and Brad will be calling the PV Hamburg game for WLSH AM 1410 on your radio dial this Friday night. And Cooper, will you be?
I will be at Mauna area for Tamaqua and Mauna area, and then also on the .com game, WMGH.com will be that big matchup down in Jim Thorpe, Marion and Jim Thorpe. So local people, you have 3 options for radio Friday night. Listen to all 3 of them.
We got you covered. Thanks for joining us. This is TNT Coleridge Football's Thursday Night Tailgate.